Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about the diamond method, fact finding on the shortfall page. Okay, you're all familiar with this page, hopefully, of the fact find. So I'm going to take you through the process and the wording and questioning the track for shortfall page. It's important that we really learn these words and these techniques because it really helps your closing ratios and speed up the chances of closing early rather than later. So the stronger you are on this section of the fact find, the easier it will be for you to close the case and move forward with the client. It will also make sure that you understand, and the client understands, how important it is for them. So we're changing something that's a want into a need. You know, once I need it, I need to have this, and I need to have it now, and that's what we're going to try and get to. Okay, so let's have a look. So when we look at this particular page, we've got a number of headings: centred investments, retirement, there's education for children, and there's family welfare. The question track is very similar for each one, but I'm just going to take you through a couple today, just to show you how you should fill it in. So let's have a look at savings and investment first of all. So the client says to you, right, I want some money in the future. Let's say, for instance, it's for a wedding. Let's say a wedding for their children. I would like $100,000. So the requirement for the client, you write in here, 100,000. Now you must make sure you put the currency as well to ensure that we understand what figures we're talking about. So we're going to say it's in US dollars. So 100,000 US dollars is the requirement. So when we get to this stage, we say to the client, great, so your number one priority was savings for the future. You require $100,000 for your children for their wedding. And you said that you need that money in about 10 years' time, is that correct? Now we're going to use a lot of positive reinforcement with our body language, so make sure we use the old noddy dog. Okay, so 100,000, yes, in about 10 years, correct. Mr. Client, how much do you currently have towards the 100,000? And we pause and we stop and we're quiet. We're waiting for them to come up with a figure. Let's say they come back with a figure of $10,000. So they want 100, they've got 10,000. What's the shortfall? Mr. Client, so what's the shortfall, Mr. Client? Ask the client to see what the figure is. Obviously, if they give us the figure, it's better, they're working it out for themselves, it means more, it starts the brain to click over, oh yeah, I'm shortfall 90,000. So at that point we say 90,000, the three blinks, 90,000. Where's that going to come from? Okay, we're emphasising here that money, where is it going to come from? Where? We want them to think, where is that money going to come from? We want them to say, from my savings. Okay. Next question, how important is it for you to have that money? Now we're challenging, we're checking to see if they really want to go ahead with a savings plan to make the 90,000. Yes, it's important. Is it very important? Yes, it is. How do you feel about that? Yes, I feel good. Okay. What would happen if you don't have that 90,000? What would happen? And then we go quiet and let them think. Now we want to open the client up again just to think about it. You haven't got the 90,000, what does it mean? Well, it doesn't mean that my children won't have the wedding that they probably dreamed of. Or I have to go and get the money from somewhere else. And we're going back to what we said when we did our short, medium and long concept. It's painful. It's a painful way because now you have to borrow money. Remember you said you wanted to work the painless way? The painless way is to take a savings plan. If you were to take a savings plan and I was to give you a savings plan that produced 90,000 in 10 years, how would you feel about that? Now we want the client to feel great. Yeah, I feel good. Yeah, what would that mean for your children? They'd get the wedding they would want, they'd be fantastic, great photographs you'll keep for the rest of your life because you've produced enough money to give them that wedding they really wanted. How that made you feel great. So now we're saying, yeah, it feels fantastic. So that's what we want, we're building it up. When do you think you should start this plan? Of course we want to say now, okay? And I would always put an asterisk next to it, now. Every time I use an asterisk on my fact find with a prospect or a client, it means it's important. Again, it's subtle, it's another part of helping people, that NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, that this means it's important if there's an asterisk next to it, so we can help when we move forward to the closing stage. Okay, likewise with retirement, same sort of track. Okay, how much do you require in retirement in today's terms? So always talking in today's terms. So the client says, I require, I don't know, let's say they require 2,000 US dollars. It can be any currency, it can be pesos, it can be sterling, it can be whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever the figure is, you put it in there. We'll keep it in US dollars for this training session. So 2,000 US dollars a month. Again, how much do you currently have? 0. How do you feel about that? Not good. What's your shortfall? 2,000. Where is that money going to come from? Zip. How do you feel about that? Not so great. Okay. What would it mean in retirement, Mr. Client, if you haven't got $2,000 a month? Quiet again. Let them think. Let them think. If you don't have that money in retirement, what would your retirement look like? Probe deeper, 3LT, 3-level technique. Don't stop at the first question, probe further. What would that mean? Where would you live? What would you do? Could you retire? Probably not. You'd have to keep working. These are questions we need to ask at this stage, because this is closing the client. This is getting them to think. If we don't get them to think now, we will not close them. It will take longer and longer to convince people to go ahead. You must make them feel that this is the situation they're going to be in today, because we're talking in today's terms. But it's going to happen in 20, 30, maybe longer years. So it's always difficult for people to see that far ahead. But the problem is, if you start early, as we know, it's more cost effective. The longer we leave it, the harder it becomes. So plan early. Okay, what would happen if you had that $2,000? Great, I could do this with my life, I could do that with my grandchildren, fantastic. Again, when should I start? Now. Great, now. Write it, asterisk it, now. Okay. Finally, with family well-being, again, you're all talking today's terms. What income would you require to maintain your chosen lifestyle in the event of a serious accident or illness? Okay, now, don't forget on this stage, it will depend, when talking about family welfare, we're talking about serious accidents or illnesses, the question would really be where would they be as well, because they may not stay in the UAE, maybe they repatriate to their home country. So the question would be, how much would you need in your home country if they're going to repatriate? So it could be different than if they were here. So that's a question we need to ask, and then we put the figure in there accordingly. Same track again, how much do you need? How much have you got? Not enough. What's your shortfall? How do you feel? 3 blinks, not so good. What would happen to your family if they didn't have this money? And again, we go deeper. If you went back to your home country without any money, what would your lifestyle be? How would it be? Now, we've had a flavour of that with the COVID virus that's going on now. We've seen how people are suffering without income, people are losing jobs. We're seeing handouts by some embassies of food packages. We are seeing people on the streets around the world that are struggling, okay? Now, I'm sure this is not what we want in our retirement, but this could be the situation unless we take plans today for the future. So it's really in our hands. We need to decide how important is it to put money aside for this eventuality. And as I said in my short, medium, long concept, it's pointless having lots of savings plans up here for all these lovely things if you have a serious accident or illness and are unable to earn an income to pay into these things. So you must have protection first. And likewise, if you should die, if something should happen to you, making sure your family has their bills paid for and then income to carry on paying their education fees and overheads. Very, very important. Hopefully that's helped today, just as a refresher. As I said, it's probably one of the most important pages of the fact find. In order for you to get a client to change their mindset, this is something I would like, that this is something I would need. Okay? And we know when it comes to protection, you can get a reasonable amount of protection for not that much money really. When you consider what you spend money on your mobile phone, who's got a brand new mobile phone out there? But that mobile phone probably cost the same as a premium for a term insurance policy that would sustain your family for the rest of their lives. Something to consider. Okay, good luck.